So an old rusted out Brazier Fire brazier. Essentially what I'm going to do is cut it all off here with an angle grinder the whole way around. That bottom section will be totally gone. These bits here I'm going to grind them smooth and then weld them onto that car rim. And then this is just the base. That's a hanging basket which I'll put some chicken mesh bird wire over the top of, and it fits perfectly over the top. So if you're having a fire and you don't want bits of burnt paper and ash going off and landing on anything else, this helps prevent that. And what's going to happen is this is going to be the metal grate, tire itself, fits in the pan perfectly, so that's the catch pan underneath for all the ashes and bits of hot coals and stuff. That metal there will be for the wood to stack on. You can put any paper and stuff underneath to start the fire. Wood on top helps aerate, helps it breathe. Everything catches fire a lot easier and will stay alight. A lot more successful. And then obviously this setup with all the legs cut off, I'll have each of those tabs welded in on here. Oops, bit of a mess there. So if you can imagine that, well, you can see that side there, that's already pretty well rusted out and broken off. So now if you can imagine, that's the next stage in the process. I'll be cutting off all the way around and then attaching them, welding them to the actual rim. There's handles on here, so the whole lot will lift up, and then I'll have an outside fireplace again. It'll be my own little fire pit created out of an old rusted one and a steel car rim. So now I've knocked out most of the bottom, and I'm going to angle grind the legs off. Now I'm going to cut them off. So now with the base and the legs cut off of it, can easily fit within a car rim. What I'm going to do though is have it up to around about here, and as you can see, these can bend out to the edge of the car rim the whole way round, and then I'll grind them down and weld them on. And then once that happens, be able to use the handles to lift it up, empty it out, whatever may be. As I mentioned before, that mesh is going to be down in when this is lifted up. And that's my upside down garden basket with extra mesh put around it to stop anything coming up, as I mentioned before. So it'll be a little bit taller than that obviously, and I'll show you the next stage once it's all welded together. So the quicker, more DIY process is I've just clamped it into place where I've wanted it, then use tech screws, impact driver, and then just go straight through into the rim, already got a couple in place around. So then afterwards I'll take the clamps off, and that'll be pretty well how it needs to be. I cut them all off at the same level, so I'm pretty confident that by clamping them in place that I'm going to be able to screw them all in the right level, and it's still going to be level across the top here. But if you want to get a little bit more technical, you can put a spirit level across the top here on level ground obviously, and then just adjust it accordingly. But to me this looks pretty level as is, and I'm going to finish doing tech screws all the way around, and that'll be a much quicker process than grinding and welding. So now that it's all tech screwed into place, just put a little bit of a bend in this wood tray. That just sits down in there. I haven't welded or screwed that in place, so that when you want to clean the ash out, simply remove it. Nice and easy. Can fill up underneath there with paper, cardboard or whatever. Have the wood on top here. Everything lights up accordingly. Have a nice fire. The holes in the actual rim. So the holes in the actual rim, ashes can go out of there and then drop down into the tray underneath. Potentially, if you wanted to, you could weld little legs on the bottom of this if you wanted that to sit up higher. But to actually just sit around as a comfort fire, little fireplace, brazier, fire pit, whatever you want to call it. Nice little comfortable setup there. And as I mentioned before, that's literally a hanging basket. Turn it upside down. Sit it on top. Mesh twisted around it, but you don't have to have that. I use that just so that it stops, as I mentioned before, stops any of the ashes drifting up into the air and then landing on, like you might have furniture nearby if you're outdoor furniture, or you might have flammable dried grass or bushes nearby that you don't want anything to catch on to. So hopefully that's given some of you an idea on how to make your own fire drum setup, little fire pit setup with any old car rims you got lying around the place. And if you don't have an old brazier like this lying around the place, you can actually get a second rim and weld a second rim on top of this rim, and then you can bore holes through it or get an angle grinder and cut slots through it, so you've got areas for heat to dissipate around where you're sitting around the fire.